Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Divine Lunch Hour. I am your host, Cherie Ariano, and I'm excited to have you all here today. I have a really fun guest, and I'm really excited to share her with you. Today is Friday, June 23rd, and we're going to be talking about sound healing and sound frequencies. And if you guys can stick around to the end, you'll also get a beautiful sound healing with our guest. And I just wanted to say hello to everyone, whether you're watching from YouTube or Rumble or Facebook. Please say hello, put your name in the chat room or tell us where you're watching from. And if you're having lunch with us today, what are you having for lunch? We want to know. So let us know how you're doing, where you're from, and what you're having for lunch. I'm going to go ahead and read to you a little bit about my guest. Her name is Rebecca Abraxas, and I found her on TikTok. And she has an amazing singing voice. So without further ado, let me share a little bit about this goddess. Rebecca Abraxas has spent the last 25 years songwriting and performing songs to uplift and inspire her audiences. Now she also offers live vocal sound journeys, custom sound healing recordings, and awakened voice sessions to support individuals on their awakening journey. Her path has led her to become a certified yoga teacher and study yoga therapy. She's become a certified Holy Fire Reiki master and Holy Fire Karuna Reiki master, a certified life coach and Access Consciousness Bars Facilitator. Those are big words. And an advanced certified therapist. She uses her frequencies in her voice to help people find their own signature frequency that offers them inner peace, deep trust, growing awareness, and release from past programming. So without further ado, let me bring Rebecca on the show. Welcome to the show, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Yay. I love sound healing and sound frequencies, and your voice is just so beautiful. And I think that more people should be aware of you. And that's why I wanted to kind of bring you on the show today so that more people could receive the benefits of your beautiful singing voice. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. That is the sweetest thing. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. So just really quickly, I wanted to ask you how you became a sound healer and how you got into this. If you could share with the audience a little bit about your background, that would be great.
Sure. Well, my voice has always had my back. I grew up with a twin, and we kind of had a bumpy childhood. Yeah, I'm an identical twin. And we always would sing and dance in our bedroom. We were really shy little girls, and we're Leos, so we always had this kind of nature of wanting to share and express, right? But we were so shy, so it was like this odd paradigm. But one thing led to the other, and I became very interested in music when I was 12. I started to play the flute. And then in my 20s, I started to really want to learn how to sing. And so I started teaching myself guitar and singing through songwriting. And at that same time, I became a seeker. And I was starting to seek higher consciousness. And so the two blended really well. And I remember the moment in my early 20s when I asked and I prayed to the angels, which is kind of an odd thing because I'm not an angel person really. But I remember praying to angels at that one moment in my early 20s, asking if I could blend the worlds and offer healing and an awakening with voice, with my music. And so that really got the energies flowing in the universe. And then there it went. My song started to turn into, like sonic prayers. And went on this journey of performing. And a lot of people would say, your voice is so healing. And then I was in this priestess training and I got this download to stop using words. And I was like, okay, Show me the way here because I'm not quite sure exactly how to do that. And so that was this journey to start with the sound toning, and that happened in my late 30s. And so that was the journey, and I started to use sound with Reiki. Um, and then that chapter evolved into just me kind of like owning source, like just kind of coming into my source energy and
Mhm.
using sound, my voice, to align with source and just be source energy through my voice. And that's where I'm at now. And then I just got the opportunity to get an advanced sound healing certification from Globe Sound, which is it's been an amazing 6 months to just learn all the stuff about, like, formal learning about sound healing. But most of my stuff is spontaneous source singing or light language of sorts. And that's been my
Mhm.
journey. It's short, I could say more about the journey, but like, let's keep it at that. So that's how I got here.
That's beautiful. Well, you answered some of my questions in there,
Okay,
so
okay, what?
that's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you mix sound frequencies with Reiki, because it seems like it would be really lovely for a person receiving, a healing from you. And also, can you speak a little bit more about, I wanna say this correctly, Karuna Reiki, Holy Fire Karuna
Yeah.
Reiki. So what is that? Is that, it sounds like it's from Hawaii or something. What kind of Reiki is that?
It's so Holy Fire Reiki is a Reiki that came through. I haven't been in the Reiki world in a little while, so it came through as a Christ consciousness, kind of an upgrade to the Reiki energy. That's what it's been called. And the Karuna was kind of the second class of that. So there's four other symbols in that class. And the man, gosh, his name is totally leaving my brain. Um, Gosh, what is his name? Anyway, he's from Hawaii. He lives in Hawaii right now, and
Mhm.
there's a whole story about how that Karuna name came. But it's the Holy Fire, and the Karuna is his kind of legacy of Reiki. And
Okay.
I could definitely and go and look that up for you guys. Um, but the interesting part about getting certified as Reiki in Reiki is you're always expanding in consciousness with Reiki. You're always growing in Reiki and growing in Reiki as you practice it. And then what
Mhm.
happened to me is kind of I evolved, like I expanded out of the consciousness of Reiki. So I I use it as like it was a stepping stone to where I am now. And all the energies that I've practiced and the teachers that I've had through the years, they're all
Mhm.
part of the energy I am. But I don't necessarily
Sure.
I don't use those symbols. I kind of am those symbols. So as you practice, practice, you become, right. And so
Mhm.
it's the same thing with any tool. I have a teacher, Randy Masters, who says if you use a frequency of a tuning fork enough times, you actually become the frequency of it. You can actually
Mm.
just step into a healing and say, okay, 528, come on up. Like you are the frequency of it. So that's what's cool about if you are a diligent seeker and practice and have a morning practice of frequencies, you actually become and you hold all frequencies. So you don't need
That's beautiful.
the path anymore, right? You don't need the tool anymore. You are the tool.
Right. Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yes, you-
And I agree, as a healer, like, you kinda, like, take on all your teacher bits and pieces of all your teacher's teachings
Yeah.
and incorporate it into yours. And you have, a morning practice ritual that I saw where you said, like, before you even get out of bed, when you wake up in the morning, you do some toning. Can you speak a little bit on that?
I will because this has been so powerful. And I teach this a lot to midlife women. I have a new 10-week program where I lead women through that are having an awakening, a midlife awakening, which, has in the past been called a crisis. But this is super important, especially at midlife. Um, to before you even get out of bed, before you even pull the covers down, you start to do a body scan. And I teach people to get really in tune with the layers of awareness, not only feeling their body, but feeling their chakras, feeling their emotional layer, feeling the belief systems that are active. A lot happens at night. We can glom on, and we can get energies from our partners, from the astral plane. So a lot can happen. So I teach people to just tune, really fine tune the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical body. And where you feel density, you want to let out a tone. Now, I teach this process. I mean, it's not even a process. You just go through the ABCs, because some people just feel a little uncomfortable, like just letting out a spontaneous tone, right? So you could
Yeah.
just do it on Om or Ah, or you can do it through the ABCs, like just ah, ba 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 ba, da 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 da, ee. And I'll just go through A to Z and feel into the density wherever it is, whatever is that morning, and I'll just process it with sound. And
Mm-hmm.
I go through all 26 sounds of the letters of the alphabet. You're doing it for enough time, and you're getting into the consonants and the vowels that open you up, but also like E is a really great sound to break up density, and Ah is a really great one to just really connect with the
Mm-hmm.
ether. So you're getting a lot of different um, connections there with doing the ABCs. And so it's the ABCs in the morning before you even get out of bed, and you tune with that body scan and your awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow, that's a great practice. And you could also do the chakra sounds, right? Like lum,
Good.
bum,
Yeah,
rum.
you
It's
can
only
do whatever you
seven, but
want.
there's probably more, because there's
Yeah.
like 20 something chakras.
What I just really encourage people to do is just to start to tune in to the density, because there's this Jonathan Goldman. He's a pioneer in sound healing therapy out here in Boulder, Colorado, and he coined the formula: sound plus intention equals outcome, or healing, or manifestation, when you want to call it. So
Mm-hmm.
just toning the chakras to tone them is powerful, but putting an intention in there, meaning like if you have the awareness of this density and you're just like, ooh, right there, what is that? Let's process that. Let's lighten that up. And that's your intention. And then you put sound. Whoa, that just really amps up the medicine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. And, I love that because each chakra kind of is a power center for different emotions and divine will and grounding, whatever the ruling energies of that chakra are. So you could kind of hone in on each one that you need more balance in or with, depending on if you want to speak your truth or be connected to your higher self or to God or unity consciousness or whatever.
Yeah.
So
And
that
what's really cool about the chakras too, all of them are aligned with a certain endocrine gland. So there's
yes, I've heard that too. Yeah, that's pretty
this
cool.
physical aspect too. So yeah, so
Hmm.
in the chakras with awareness of what feels, what's that? Get curious, because really what's happening is like our beingness is here, and
Hmm.
our bodies are here, and everything in between, the chakras included, like our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, the chakras, the nadis, the meridians. All it is a communication system between our beingness and our bodies. And so we really want to start tuning in to the sensations and awareness of what's being communicated, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's beautiful. So I just want to say hello to everyone who's watching live, whether you're on TikTok or Rumble, or not TikTok. I always do that. YouTube, Rumble, or Facebook. Please say hello in the chat room. And if you have any questions for Rebecca, please put them in the live chat and I would be happy to relay your questions. And if you haven't already, please like and share this video with your friends. So, Rebecca, how does sound healing work on the human body? Can you speak a little bit on the medicine, if you will, of sound and how it affects our cells and our divine blueprint?
Sure. So in sound therapy, everything's a vibration. And what we want to do is bring the body's vibration into harmony and resonance. So if there is something out of balance or not in harmony, say the sine wave could kind of look kind of jagged. It would be stressed. And as sound therapists, we want to bring that sine wave into a smooth flow. Okay, so
Are
um,
you saying sigh like
sine, like a sine wave, like
oh,
a
a sign? Okay, like a visual
yeah, or if
sign.
you look at an acoustic like resonant wave, you look like a
Hmm.
sine with sound wave. You look at the sound wave, like the bell curve,
Right.
like
Got it.
that. You would want that to be nice and smooth. And a lot of us have some disharmony in our body, and that would be kind of jagged. So what we do is we do frequencies and we tune into um, resonances that would help the body. So like if we know the frequency of a healthy liver per se, we could sing that note out and we could harmonize it. We could bring it back to resonance. So
Hmm.
every cell and every organ has a frequency that it feels like, ah, home at, right? And then you have to think of all the frequencies working together, right? As an orchestra or symphony. And so everything has to be in harmony together. And so that's what sound therapy does, whether you're using the voice or whether you're using a fork, or I have my crystal bowls here. The
Hmm.
idea is to bring all these organs and cells back to resonance. So that's and what it like physically what it does. Like I know for the voice, because I do a lot of voice healing, not healing the voice, but healing the body with the voice, is that
Hmm.
like, here's some of the facts. Like when you start to sing or when you hear sound from the voice, you can, the vagus nerve gets activated from the ear and also from the throat, and the vagus nerve starts calming down that sympathetic response, reactivity, that fight or flight. So it calms
Hmm.
the nervous system. We start producing happy hormones like oxytocin and dopamine, and we start calming down the cortisol, the adrenaline responses, and the hormones from stress. When we are singing ourselves, like I teach a lot of people how to be their own sound healers. You're helping the respiratory system, right? You're clearing it out. You're expanding your breath capacity. So these are
Hmm.
all really positive things about sound healing and how they have direct response in the body.
Is sound healing the fastest way to heal the body? Because I know that, I work with essential oils, and the olfactory system is one of the fastest ways to heal the body. It can have an effect on you within 30 seconds.
Mhm.
But I believe that sound might be even faster. Do you know if it is the fastest?
I do. I've experienced personally myself that sound, like my own sound, is like the fastest modality I've ever done. But like I've had several teachers, David Gibson from Globe Sound, and Chloe Goodchild. She was one of my voice teachers. She's out of the UK, the Naked Voice. Both of them
Mhm,
say that sound or voice is the fastest way to your processing and awakening.
mhm, mhm,
But just sound alone, not even your voice, you can entrain to a frequency, and your brain waves can shift in like 10 to 15 seconds. Now, shifting a brain wave is huge healing, because if we're in beta, the monkey mind, the doing, the thinking of the daily life is in beta, right? And so if
mhm.
we can calm that brainwave down to like a low alpha and theta, we are living kind of with this calm alertness, and that is really where the body is in harmony, right? So those brain waves can train in like 10 seconds to
That's amazing.
feel it.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier because I'm like, olfactory is really fast, but sound must be the fastest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we can do it ourselves with our voice, or, a tuning fork, like you said, or a bowl, so that's amazing. And I know music is the global language, right? Like everybody loves music, and it's the universal language where you can listen to a song and not even speak the language of that musician, and you can feel the intention behind that song or whatever that artist was trying to convey in their music. So,
A really good point. And it's beautiful that we can align with music that uplifts us, but it's very important too, then, if music is that fast, is to really be mindful of what music we are putting in our listening path and what sounds we're putting in our
Absolutely.
listening path, because they're affecting us in a negative way too. They can affect us in
Right.
ways. So, um, yeah, it's powerful medicine either way. And so,
Yeah, I
important to
agree.
know, right? Yeah.
And I've heard that, our bodies and our heart chakras are attuned to, is it 528 hertz? And, or is it the 417? I forget which one the heart chakra is, but I've also heard that, a lot of the mainstream music has been readjusted to like 444 frequency, which is not in resonance with our heart chakras, and that it's used to kind of manipulate humans to kind of be off balance and off center. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I know all about that. I just learned
Okay.
all of that in my healing course. So it's not as bad as you think. And a lot of people are kind of making a bigger deal than it is. And there's
Mhm.
no conclusive evidence to any of that. So 440 is what modern music has been um, tuned to. Okay. And there's 440, which is kind of like the tuning note, like it's an A note. And what happens is we're just tuning to that note, and we're tuning everything else from that. And then there's tuning systems. There's something called equal tempered tuning system. That is the modern uh, tuning system for every instrument. And they did that way back when, Bach was doing his writing and stuff, like, because that you got a piano and you can have all keys on that piano. So instruments could have all keys, and you can all work together
Mhm.
to play music. In the past, it was called just intonation, and that's tuned to the harmonic series, which isn't as equal through all the intervals. And so it was harder for musicians to play together, because one instrument would only have this key and this amount of notes and this, and so they wouldn't be in harmony together. So basically, the music of language is in equal tempered, and we tune to 440 to all have a concise language. That's all that means. But just intonation is based on the harmonic structure, and the harmonic structure is what all of nature is based on. All of the
Mhm.
frequencies and natures are based on. So that's why they say that. But the 528 is it's a solfeggio tone, and it's interesting. The solfeggio tones, I believe, they're a lot of people have taken them into being like, these sacred frequencies, and it's the frequency of the heart. It's not like everyone's heart chakra, and there's been no conclusive evidence. So I use 528 for heart and for throat frequency to open those chakras up. But you
Mhm.
can use lots of different frequencies between the 3 and 500 range, or 3 to 400 range on the heart, and the like 3 to 500 range in the throat, hertz. And so it's kind of a disservice when people are saying these real conclusive definitive things. um, it's not so much true.
Mhm.
You can use 528. It's a solfeggio tone, but the solfeggio tones aren't like this natural frequency. I mean, it's a frequency, on our planet, but it was formed from someone looking at the sacred texts out of the Bible. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
so people don't have all the information when they're talking about these really intense accusations, because
Mhm.
because it limits us. You know what I mean? Like there's
Right.
lots of possibilities, lots of possible frequencies that we can use to heal and open up the heart and the throat. And it's not
Mhm.
that. And there's also things talking about like 528 being the DNA note and stuff like that. Um, there's not just one frequency that's going to activate the DNA. And personally, every teacher I've had said the voice is the most powerful and potent uh, sound therapy tool, because
Mhm.
intention, the frequency of the intention mixed with prana of the breath and the sound of the voice, and it's like this, the vocal tones are the kind of like the sonic rocket for the light that's of the intention that's in the sound. So your intention is the greatest potency of the frequency, and
Mm-hmm.
so not the frequency itself.
Got it. And it's like the amplifier, right, of the intention or
Yeah,
the microphone in a way.
exactly. And there are like some, like, if you what they're trying to do is a lot of research. Be like, okay, like if we can get the exact frequency of a well, say, liver, you know,
Mhm.
get that exact frequency and we can match it, then we can bring that to a resonance. And they even have um, frequencies that have aligned with cancer cells. Have you heard this? They've aligned with cancer cells, and then they
Mm.
up the volume and they explode cancer cells. So
Wow.
there is some value to getting the exact frequency of a physical thing and either creating resonance with it or exploding
Mhm.
it, depending on if it's what you want to do with it. There's a lot of TED Talks on that, and
I know they do that with kidney stones. There's sound healing, sound, frequencies for kidney stones where they explode the kidney stones.
yeah, you
They
can do the same
yeah,
thing with cancer cells, but
yeah.
you know, for some reason it's not catching on, I guess, because cancer is a pretty big thing. And
It's a big industry.
I wasn't even gonna go there, but
It's a big moneymaker.
um,
What about the Schumann resonance? Is that a sound frequency also?
the Schumann resonance, yes, that is a 7.83 hertz, and it happens between the Earth and it's in the ionosphere between the Earth and its atmosphere, and has to do
Mhm.
with lightning happening all around the planet. All the time, like every second there's lightning happening, and that frequency sits in that ionosphere, and
Mhm.
everything on planet Earth is entrained to it. Everything in nature is entrained to the Schumann resonance. So um, what's interesting about going out into nature is that we can kind of come home to that resonance, because planet Earth just has that hertz. Like that's what we're entrained to when we're on it. But like when we're like on these computers and we're in homes with all this electricity, and the electricity I think is like, what is it, 60 hertz or something like that. So it's like there's all the stuff that we're
Mm.
entrained to, right? And
Mhm.
so when we get
Yeah.
out to nature, it neutralizes us with that Schumann resonance, because everything is entrained to the Schumann, the 7.83.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been such a big talk lately with all the solar flares and everything happening, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's another
That
thing that my teacher says. It's like there's a lot on TikTok about all the fluctuating Schumann resonance happening, but he said that's actually the Schumann resonance is actually very stable. And what's happening is people are reading the charts differently. They're reading the amplitude, and that doesn't have to do with the frequency changing.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
um, my teacher, the teachers over at Globe are pretty clear that the Schumann resonance is pretty stable.
Mhm. Well, that's good to hear. What can you speak on light language a little bit? What is light language?
Sure. Light language it can be sound, it can be art, it can be movement. Basically, the way I see it is we're opening ourselves up to an alignment with a frequency, and we are in flow with it. And there are lots of different frequencies of light language. I even heard someone who's a popular podcast on YouTube talk about mermaid light language. There's dragon light language. There's the Palladian light language. So there's
Mhm.
light ETs. There's you can do something from, like, the earth light language. So there's all different frequencies, but I see it as a rainbow of frequencies. And when I was just coming into this, I remember saying something on Facebook, saying, "Oh, I was just singing the light and this and that," and someone was like, "That's light language." I was like, "Oh," and so I explored it some more. And after my meditations, I would just be in the flow of source energy, and I would just spontaneously sing out, and not
Mhm.
anything in particular. And I was like, "Oh, this is light language." So
Mhm.
that's kind of how I toted it. And it could be called source singing or light language, but source singing is from like the frequency of, like, source. light language could really be a rainbow of frequencies of light,
Mhm.
from light ETs, from light entities, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Have you, because, when I first learned about light language, I made the assumption that it was all of the light. And then I started seeing some light language singers, and I didn't really resonate with what they were
yeah,
singing with their light language. It felt really dark to me and heavy and, of a lower frequency. So,
I can totally speak to that.
is it the same thing as what you were saying earlier about it's all about the intention behind the singing? Or do you think that it comes down to that person's soul origination? So if they're a Pleiadian starseed, they're going to automatically sing Pleiadian light language. If they're a dragon star seed, then they're doing that type of light language. So do you think it's like connected to their soul or origins, if you believe in star seeds, or do you think it's more about the intention behind those tones?
I I think it's kind of a mix of both here. I think it's just the frequency of consciousness that you're at. So if you were, I experience the same thing. I cannot listen to light language across the board. In fact, most light language on YouTube, I can't listen to. I
Mhm.
try and I'm like,
I
whoa.
agree.
So
Me
it,
too.
yeah, it just depends on where you are on your awakening and ascension.
You're like one of the only ones I can listen to,
Oh,
actually.
okay. Yeah, so we must just be matched on the journey of our ascension journey. And the way I see
Mhm.
awakening and ascension journey is that we've awakened to what we really are, right? And then the ascension journey is starting to embody the higher consciousnesses. So it's the practice of ever expanding consciousness. And ascension's just the journey, the journey of coming to consciousness and lighter quantum frequencies. I don't want to get in, the quantum frequencies and sound frequencies. They're different. They're measured differently. So, um, quantum frequencies, scalar frequencies, source frequency, right? So, if you feel in alignment with a certain light language, it means that you guys have connected and you're kind of on the same uh, wavelength of ascension. You're kind of on the same path.
Frequency. You're on the same
Yeah,
frequency.
it's
Yeah.
it's not dark, but it could feel dense. Other light language that doesn't feel in alignment with us, it's just a lower quantum frequency that we're not um, actively living anymore.
Hmm.
And it's not like it's not like good, bad. It's just we're all on different trajectories. We're all at different places on our journey. So it's not right, wrong, or good or bad. It's just like, that's not for me. This is for me. You know what I mean? So it's not dense and dark and evil. It's just that it's part of the rainbow, and we're on this side of the rainbow and they're on this side of the rainbow. And it's just like we're just not in alignment with that. Does that make sense?
It does. It kind of reminds me of the human scale of consciousness because I do quantum healing. And so, we our frequency vibrates at different rates. And when you're in a high state of vibration or feeling good or you're high vibing, you're up above 500 on the scale. And when you're lower, you're below 500.
Yeah.
So I kind of see it like that. Like the sound frequencies can be measured also based on their frequency energetically. Um, but in follow up to what you just said, I guess my second question would be, well, are there codes behind those sounds? Because like with Reiki, right, there's all these symbols and each one has an intention or a meaning, and you're programming that person with those codes. Isn't light language the same thing? So if it is a lower frequency or lower vibrational sound and you're receiving it and you're saying, yes, I accept this healing, then you're programming your own auric body or your astral body or your aura with those codes and sounds.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful question because, like, we do have choice, and are we willing to receive it? And so when I get onto a light language thing, then I'm like, oh no, but even if I had to sit in a room with a certain sound healer, I could just say, no, thank you, I'm not receiving this. And I could put
Mhm.
up certain light protection and stuff like that. But when you do have a choice to click it off, there's that. But I believe it's like conscious. The problem here is that people don't realize they have conscious choice, and they feel like everything on YouTube is
Right.
to them, and they're going to listen to it even though, and
Right.
they're going
It's
to,
light language.
yeah, ignore their feelings. And sometimes, and it's kind of tricky, and that's why I really feel like teaching people these fine-tuned awareness is really important,
Mhm.
because I've had people listen to some of my stuff and they're like, I just felt really like uncomfortable, it felt like this or that, and I was just like, well, sometimes I'm like, honor that awareness, and sometimes it brings up density up and out. So you just have to ask, I think you always have to keep asking a question like, okay, is this for my highest good?
Mhm.
Is this discomfort a release, or is it an entraining to
Does
something?
it lift me? Does it lift my frequency? Do I
Yeah.
feel lighter and brighter, or do I feel more condensed and compacted?
Yeah.
You
And you
know?
can just ask too, like, is this for my highest good? So the
Right.
one question kind of takes care of, is this for my highest good? And then you can feel either yourself expand or contract, after
Contract.
that
Yeah,
question.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the best measurement for discernment. I'm actually doing a series on discernment this week, and I feel like if your heart expands or your consciousness expands, and then it's good for you. And if sorry, Siri's thinks I'm talking to her. And if your consciousness contracts or you feel like you're being made smaller, then maybe it's not in alignment with you.
totally,
So
totally.
yeah, so I appreciate you answering that question, because I believe that as a lot of people are on their awakening journey, and they're just finding, light language, they're studying all these different modalities or ways to receive ascension codes. They might just assume that all light language is good, and that's how I started out. I assumed all light language was good until I started tuning into my intuition
Yeah.
and going, well, this doesn't feel so good. Why is this light language not feeling good with me? Why isn't it hitting? Why isn't it resonating with me? And then as I learned more about frequency and star seeds and soul originations, I started to realize that there's, like you said, this rainbow of light language. So I
Yeah.
think it's really important for people to know that and to honor that, and really fine tune their ears to what resonates with them and what vibes with them.
So important, especially these days, because, not to scare anyone, but there are entities in the astral realm that have certain agendas, and they're really
Mhm.
tricky. They kind of disguise themselves as benevolent beings, and
Right.
if you don't have a real strong spiritual practice and discernment tool, and you don't really tune in like with your sovereignty of yourself, and
Mhm.
you're taking downloads and information from everything in the ether, you're going to get some entities that have agendas, and they're not the highest good, that could be
Mhm.
posing as light language. And this goes back to your earlier question about darker entities. So it's just like, for anyone that's going to practice light language and actually be a singer of it, like, you really have to be having you have to be awakened, you have to be practicing ascension, you have to be sitting with high frequencies, and because you can have it come in at a very low frequency with those entities that have agendas that are trying to stop the light work on the planet.
Exactly. Yeah, and they're trickster beings, I mean, by
Yeah.
nature,
Yeah.
so they're very good at hiding and pretending to be of the light. So
Yeah.
thank you
And
for saying that.
if you raise your frequency every day, you're not going to be bothered by that. Like, if you have a
Exactly.
strong practice, it's nothing to be worried about. But if you are,
Mhm.
watching yourself in negative habits, and you play a lot of your days in the lower emotional realms, you definitely want to use some protection for that, because
Mhm.
they're they're coming at you.
Right. Exactly.
I like, yeah, it's not to be scary, it's just what is. Just like, if
Right.
you get to a red light, it's possible that you could get hit by another car. you know
Right. Well,
Just
and we're in a spiritual war, and people need to start realizing that, because every decision we make is affecting that.
yeah.
It's constant. So, what does it look like for people to have a session with you? Can you speak a little bit about your services?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I do several services. One of my favorite ways to work with people is I create this, it's called Align, and it's my custom sound healing program. And I do an assessment process, and we go into where the person is vibrationally,
Mhm.
where they are, and where they want to be vibrationally. And I create a sound healing uh, bath, medicine piece about that's just completely theirs. I do it. I make this professional a recording with layers of crystal bowls, my voice, drum, whatever, and then the affirmation that we create for them. And they listen to it for 30 to 40 days to change and entrain their vibrational set point to
Mhm.
where they want to be. And we have two, an opening and a closing, one-on-one, and then there is email coaching involved in that whole month. But it's so fun to see people entrained to this and not even remember the hard things that they were going through at the beginning of the month. Because I create
Right.
this circle map, and I send them this circle map of all the things that they talked about. And then I put a little line to what we're shifting it, what we're asking it to shift to. And
Mhm.
it's amazing when I go back into that map, you're like, oh yeah, I was agitated with my kids. Like really cool. They don't even remember. Like they're just like,
That's
I'm
cool.
this. So that's a really fun way I work with people. Another way I work with people is through the awakened um, voice sessions. And that's really cool because we could do anything from voice work, chakra work, reprogramming work, emotional work, and we do it all through like sound and mentoring. And
Mhm.
that's just, yeah,
Is
it's,
it like one-on-one coaching where you're live on
yep,
Zoom and you're
yeah.
having them do toning or something like that?
Yep.
Okay.
We tone together, I tone for them. We go through old belief systems. It's just anything goes in those sessions wherever we go, and we can
Mhm.
track dense frequencies in the body, and we can work with that. And so it's, yeah, they're really potent possible, like, sessions of possibility.
Shifts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I imagine it shifts your field quite quickly.
yeah.
Um, awesome. So is your website, Rebecca Abraxas, the best place for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, RebeccaAbraxas.com. I'm on TikTok a lot, and I have a YouTube channel. On
Mhm.
Facebook a lot. Not so much Instagram, but yeah, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Are those your handles? Are they just your names
Yes, just my name.
on those channels? Okay.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
have tried to name myself so many things, and I've had to change it through the years because it's just been such a fast evolution here on this lifetime. And I'm just like, screw it. We're just staying with Rebecca Abraxas because I've had to change everything every time because my last name,
Yeah.
Rebecca's Reiki and voice. Before that, it was like, and I think I have the tagline, "Brilliant Possibilities" on
Mhm.
my website. But yeah, you'll be able to find anything with my name. So.
Okay, wonderful. Well, and it's a unique last name, and it reminds me of, like, did Santana have an album called Abraxas or something
No,
like
they
that?
did. They did. And
They
interesting.
did.
Yeah.
That's why it was like, this name is so familiar.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself a little
I know.
bit.
I didn't even know about it actually when we got it. But this was my married name. Abraxas. I chose it. My maiden name is Beecher, and my husband's made like birth name is Brown. And we were just like, we wanted something new for our, because we both were kind of just black sheeps of the family. We wanted to just create a new name, and we
Oh,
came
wow, that's
name.
cool.
We didn't know at the time it was on a Santana album. It's a very old, like pre-Greek, pre like Gnostic word that means like all encompassing, encompassing like all of life, to have a full life. So
Oh, wow. Okay, I was gonna ask you which country it originates from,
yeah,
but it's Greek.
yeah, I think it's Greek, but it actually is not originated in Greek. Like it's has a Greek origin, but it's even older than Greek. It's pre-Gnostic. It's a pre-Gnostic word.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, because it is a unique name and I was wondering.
Yeah.
Very cool. So believe it or not, we've already gone through 3/4 of our show today, and I want to allow time for you to share your beautiful singing and healing voice. So would you like to play some music or do some toning? What feels good to you
I
today?
think what I'll do is I'll grab my drum here.
Mm-hmm.
Amplifies my voice a little bit, and sometimes I do some tone with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do some source singing, light language, with that. And how
Yeah.
hold it?
And your bowls?
Yeah, I could do a bowl. Let me see.
Yeah, that would be awesome too.
Let me just show you the bowl here.
You must have a million bowls. I've only got the one. I've got the third eye chakra bowl.
I have this C bowl. It's a 432. 432, I think. It's a deep earth tone, root chakra tone, and this is
I've played that bowl. It's huge.
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
And then then I have an A and a C. No, this is the C. I have F and F and an A. So it's a chord F A C. So I got bowls out. I only have I just have five. I have 5 crystal bowls and 2 Tibetan bowls. I'd love a whole set of the Tibetan ones. But because I mostly just use my voice, but it's nice to have these to kind of supplement a little bit.
Right.
All right.
All
So,
right.
is there an intention you'd like to hold?
Wow, what a question. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, let me meditate on that for a second. Let's call in the intention of more unity consciousness.
Oh, I love that. Call it unity consciousness. Okay. All right. So just relax and let's all hold that intention and receive the sonic prayer.
Trying to shift you.
And I'm not sure if you're on Zoom or if sometimes you have to put on original. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear all the frequencies all at once or not, or sometimes you have to put on original sound on Zoom.
Oh, I'm not using Zoom. I'm using I'm using StreamYard.
Okay.
I can turn on echo cancellation. That's about it.
I'm not sure if echo cancellation. I don't know. You might want to turn that back on because it's an elongated sound rather than a talking sound. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can put you full screen, and so far I haven't figured out how to do that. I think I have to just remove myself. 1 second. Wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. That was really lovely. Amazing.
You're welcome. Yeah, feel good.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine how good it must have sounded in person because, with the computer mic, the sound kind of
Yeah.
fluctuates, but it sounded amazing. So thank you so much for all your divine wisdom and all of your beautiful healing frequencies today. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. And let's just keep TikToking together.
Absolutely. Maybe we can do a live
Yeah.
event on TikTok. I'm almost at 1,000 followers.
Okay, I can do it.
So, oh
I'm,
yeah, you could host it.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
put it on. Let me know. Yeah, when you'd like to do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And if you guys are on TikTok, please go and follow me on TikTok because I'm almost at 1,000 followers.
Come
And
on.
and also definitely follow Rebecca on TikTok. And she's at her name, which is Rebecca Abraxas as well. And there's some really amazing content on her channel, lots of healing sounds and frequencies. And she's also speaking a lot to middle-aged women. So if you're in our Gen X woo woo demographic, come on, Gen X is the best, you guys. I love all the Gen X like content that's out. It's
I know.
really funny.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wisdom there for that audience as well. And even for the younger audiences, I think the younger audiences have a lot to learn from the Gen Xers. I think it's really a beautiful melding that's happening on TikTok with the 20 somethings and the, Gen Xers. Yeah, it's great.
So much, yeah.
Well, wonderful. So please just share again any last thoughts that you have for our audience and where they can find you and how they can work with you.
Sure. My name's Rebecca Abraxas. .com is my website. And for sure, come see. There's lots of free content on YouTube. I think I have like 900 videos. It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
So lots of free content on there. TikTok, I'm probably most active on. Just such a fun platform. So come to one of the lives over there. Facebook, I'm there. But yeah, I have a lot of great offerings, especially the Align Custom Sound Healing Program, where you get a custom sound medicine program aligned just for you to reset your vibrational set points. So yeah, I'd love to work with you.
Awesome. Yay. Well, thank you everyone for watching today. Please don't forget to hit the like button right now and share this video on your social media platforms if you enjoyed today's show. And stay tuned. In July, we have Viviane Chauvet coming up, and we'll have a lot more newer great guests between now and then. I'm sure I just haven't, finalized everything yet. But thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend. And thanks so much for spending your divine lunch hour with us. This was a lot of fun. Take care, everyone. Bye.